Hey there, magical beings. Welcome to my channel. I am Aradia Arcanum, and this is the second video in a series titled Back to My Roots. And what that means is I am doing videos that I started out doing on YouTube in the beginning, and also sharing things that I have learned that I still do today as part of my practice, but things that I have learned in the beginning, the things that I dove into, and the hows and whys that I will be sharing, the ways that I do those things in magic, all the beginner foundation things. But also, even as an experienced practitioner, there may be something that you get out of this, because the things that I share are the way that I do them. So you might find something that you resonate with and want to try it in your practice. So mostly for beginners, but you still may get something out of this even if you're beyond a beginner. If you haven't seen the thumbnail already, the Herbalist Way in Magick. This video is going to be me discussing the Herbalist Way, what that is in magic, and sharing examples of some botanicals medicinally, and how they're used in magic, how I go about choosing all of that. So let me give a little quick disclaimer as well. I am not a doctor. I have taken herbalism, taken a course. However, what I share will be what I have used myself, and I'm going to share how it works for me. You do with that what you will. Go do your due diligence and see how, make sure it's okay for you to take. But in my videos, I will be sharing, the medicinal uses. So I just want to put that out there before you begin, because I don't want to hear nobody say, when I took that, it gave me a headache or anything like that. So you just make sure you do your due diligence. But I'm just telling you what works best for me and what the books say about a lot of the plants that I will share medicinally and metaphysically, and how I use that in magic. So let's jump in to the Herbalist Way in Magic. Grab a seat, get comfy, as they say, and let's dive in. So the Herbalist Way, as I started to explain, the Herbalist Way is simply taking the approach as an herbalist. And the reason why this is something that I incorporate into my practice, for starters, as an herbalist, you learn about the plant in nature, how it grows in nature, where it grows in nature, when it grows in nature, right? And its defense mechanisms, what is it good for internally? What can it help you with in your body? And does it like sunlight? Does it like the shade, right? Does it like a lot of water? You learn all of this, and you learn, how all of that applies to your body when you learn herbalism. Okay. I wanted to add to this video also, but I forgot. I wanted to add what books I used when I took the herbalist course online. The online school is called Genesis School of Natural Health, I believe. If you're interested, I will put that information in the description of this video. But I wanted to share these books that I used, and I have more. I'm not going to go through all of them. But these are 3 that are good books that you'll see across the board in the different herbalist schools. These are the main ones that you'll typically see that you'll need. So I'm going to start with Anatomy and Physiology. This is a very good book by Ross and Wilson. You'll see this one. Very, self-explanatory, Anatomy and Physiology. So then the next one is, these books are heavy. The next one is A Medical Herbalism, The Science and Practice of Herbal Medicine. You'll see this one also. Very good books. And then the other one that I wanted to share that I purchased, that I had to purchase when taking the course, is The Natural Physician's Healing Therapies. I love this book because it started me with when I, wanted to start creating tinctures and things and different alternative medicines, but the Natural Physician's Healing Therapies, and that's this book right here. So this book is one that you'll see also that is heavily used across the board in different schools. This includes 50 new healing therapies, right? I don't know how new it is because as I said, this was years ago. But after that, after like practicing herbalism, I also decided to purchase another book because I think it's good to understand medicine across the board, because in the West, in Western medicine, we often use plants or botanicals that are not native to the West, right? We often use medicines from other cultures. So I thought it was good to have this Chinese herbal medicine guide, very heavy book. So this is giving a glare, sorry about that. But yeah, this is a very heavy book. And a little story behind that was I was in New York, and I forgot why we were in New York, but we walked past a little bookstore, and outside, this is how they get you. Outside it was like books on sale, $5 and $10 books. So and immediately I stop, and then we go into the store, and of course I didn't get a $5 and $10 book. This book was $80, but that was a big sell at the time for this book. So I thought it was good to have because I was looking for a book about Chinese medicine. So this is Materia Medica, and it was a revised edition. But so these are some of the foundational books that I work with. There's more over there on the shelf at the bottom down there, but I wanted to just include these. I have other books that I use for the metaphysical properties, but I wanted to highlight these, right? If you are someone that's looking to get started with herbalism, having that knowledge, that all of that knowledge about that plant, when you carry that over into magic, this can help you choose what's going to work best in the magic for you. Now, with that said, the other reason that I take this approach is because as a beginner, you're going to go, right? You want to know, you're going to look at a book, right? To find out what botanicals are typically used for whatever magic. Now, there are books out there that you could have two different books that will give two different descriptions of that botanical. And it's not because they are wrong, one of them is wrong. It is simply because that person may be coming from their specific cultural uses or their spiritual, how it's used in their spiritual practice. So you will find that not all books have the same description about a plant. This can be a little confusing. So I decided that a long time ago that because I have this knowledge already, I am going to, when wanting to put together what magic I'm going to do, I may look at what is typically used, but I also will look at other botanicals because I know there may be some others that fit the category of what I want to manifest. And a lot of times I look at what is typically used and I find that it may not be the best thing that's being used. And a lot of times it's because this is what has been passed down, right? One person used it, or this is something that's used in the family and has always worked for that family. So, you know, there's many reasons why there is, right, traditionally things that are used. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm not saying those don't work. But I find that for my magic, I make sure I investigate why that botanical is being used. So that's all I'm saying. But you can't do that if you don't really understand the plant in its entirety. So I'm not saying go out and be an herbalist. What I'm saying is, if you take the herbalist way, you're going to understand the plant on all its levels, right? Use the plant in all its wisdom that it has to give. And the other thing is, when you use that plant, for example, when you want to create an oil, right, an enchanted oil, I used to, because it looks pretty, right? And typically if you get a small bottle, you're not going to, it shouldn't last. But I find that when I get a little bottle, it lasts for a while. So when it has the ingredients still inside, that can go rancid if you let it sit for a long time. Now there's this, right, there's this thing that, right, the energy of the plant goes after a while anyway, so you shouldn't be, right, it shouldn't, that bottle, you should use that small bottle. But that's the herbalist way in magic, would be to strain the plant material from the oil, and then you will, you know, after letting it, however you're going to do it, double boil it, let it sit, however you're going to do it. But once you remove the plant matter, the oil will last you way longer. So that is something, right? That's an herbalist approach. That is the thinking like an herbalist. So that will last you way longer. That's just one of the benefits of having this knowledge, of looking at the whole picture of how to work with this plant. So the other thing is medicinally. So for example, I have here, you can see I'm sitting by my, this is why I decided to film it here, because I'm sitting here by my little apothecary, not little, but apothecary here. So I pulled, now this is totally empty. I have it because it's a reminder for me to get more. But this is a perfect example because this is lemon balm. Lemon balm tea. Now, because I use lemon balm in Magick and I drink the tea. So I will just take the tea bag and take the herb out of the tea bag when using it, like in candle magic or something like that. But this plant is very good medicinally, right, for your digestive system. That is the main reason why I have this tea, for my digestive system. So like if you've just eaten something like it, because it's in the mint family. So it after you've eaten maybe a heavy meal or a meal that had too much grease in it, this is very good to drink. This definitely helps your digestive system. So I'm going to read to you some other things. So it is good for anxiety and stress reduction. As a natural nervine, lemon balm promotes relaxation, reduces stress, and calms anxiety. It's good for your sleep quality. It is used to combat insomnia. That was another reason why I got it as well. Digestive health. It helps soothe symptoms of indigestion, gas, and stomach cramps due to antispasmodic effects. Good for cold sores, cognitive enhancements, anti-inflammatory and antioxidant. So you see why this is something good to have, right? Right. The other thing, there's two ways to do that, right? You can look at what it does medicinally and say, if I need to do some magic, right? Maybe I need to do some magic. I'm having a bit of anxiety. Let me set some intention even though, you know, you could just drink the tea and sit there and meditate and just woosah, but maybe someone around you has anxiety. You want to set the intention just to clear away any anxiety that is around you. Just an example. You can use lemon balm, right? Or if you want to have a ease of flow, I would even think about adding lemon balm, because if it's helping your digestive system, that means it's helping things flow properly and with ease. So these are ways that I think about using the plant when I understand its properties medicinally. So now let's look at, this is one of the books that I used in my series that I did, botanical series that I did over on Patreon. And a little sidebar, I am not on Patreon anymore. I'm not active, at least. You can find me over there, but I'm not active. I am on my new platform, School, SKOOL, under Magick Alchemy Circle. That is where I'm active. That is where I'm doing my magic at. Okay, so I use this book, Hoodoo, Herb, and Root Magic, in that series mostly, because as I said, I have a bunch of books, books for herbalism and books for magic, and I just thought this was like the most basic one to use. Here, lemon balm, a little bit about lemon balm. The other names for it is balm, bee balm, bergamot, bergamot mint, lemon mint, and sweet Melissa. So like most lemon scented plants, lemon balm is a cleansing herb. It also has a reputation for clearing away bad luck in love and drawing in a new lover. So they have here in this book to break up bad conditions and promote health, and also to draw a married lover or a newer lover. Now, when you think about the medicinal properties of lemon balm, I can totally see this, because it says to clearing away. And like I said, if you want something to flow smoothly, right? It clears away, it helps your digestive system. When you eat something, right, it's going through this whole system in your body, breaking it down. And when that's messed up, right, things are out of place, there's chaos, other things as a result of that happen. Maybe you get a stomach ache, you get a headache. So what happens with lemon balm, if it's clearing the way for you it's to break up bad conditions, right? It's clearing the way, right? It's helping there to be a nice flow, the things to flow properly. So when you think about that, right, you're like, this is really the plant for me to use in this magic, because you have all of that knowledge. The point I'm making here is you want to not just pick up a book and because they said, this is what you do, this is the plant that you use, and this is how you use it. If you have some magic that you want to do, and what I would suggest is you go and find out more about that plant medicinally, and how that plant is used and how it grows in nature. It will better help you to make a good choice on what is best for your magic. And one of the main examples that I always use is wormwood. How I learned about wormwood, this was years ago. I did a little research because periodically I go in and out of being go on this health kick of purging and understanding all things that work inside my body. So I was focused on understanding parasites. And when I found out information about parasites that could be residing in my intestines, so when I found that out, I wanted to find out the alternative ways to extract these parasites from out of my body. I didn't know if I had any parasites. I just wanted to make sure that I was cleaned out, and yeah. This is how I learned about wormwood. How I used the wormwood is I took a teaspoon of dried wormwood and I put it in about maybe 8 to 10 ounces of hot water, making a tea. I drank this for 3, 4, 5 days from what I can remember, because it was years ago, as I mentioned. After that, you know, after the second or third day, I did check. Yes, guys, I checked. Every time I had a bowel movement, I checked to see if there were parasites. And after the end, when I finished drinking it, after the 3, 4, or 5 days, I saw parasites in my bowel movement. Yes, that's disgusting, but I was not going to go through this process without investigating and making sure that this worked. Yes, there were parasites, and I was able to identify them because I had did the research to see what parasites look like that may reside in your intestines. I identified some parasitic like bacteria, but what happens is it doesn't know the good from the bad. You need good bacteria in your flora, in your colon. And what happened was it cleaned it all out. So then a few days after I came off of that, I got totally sick, right? My immune system was weak. So I got sick shortly after doing that because my body wasn't prepared. So, and also, right, along with that, your body when it's being cleaned out, right, sometimes you can get sick. But I remember getting so sick, and I remember doing the research like, oh, it cleaned out the good bacteria as well. Having that experience made me understand how good wormwood and black walnut powder was. So in Magick, I'm like, if we're going to clear away some parasites, that is the thing that's going to work. So there's other things that you may pick up in the book that will say, but because of your, it'll say something else, but because of your experience and knowledge of that plant or other plants that may do the same job, my experience with wormwood had me sold on the fact that it works. So, yeah, that's what made me take a deeper look at the plant medicinally, and how I use it in Magick. So just a little story about my journey with wormwood and the parasites. That is the way that I feel is like the holistic way, really. And it's more, right, I guess it's more about really diving into the research of it all. Don't just look at this book, right? Don't just look at a book and because they said this is what you use and this is what you use it for, don't just take it at its word, right? You go do the research and find out the whole story about that botanical. And this way you'll have, right, because to working with that botanical, you'll have a better relationship with it. You'll have a better conversation with it and what you're asking it to help you do. Right? Do your due diligence, do it. So as I said, right? So this plant is the lemon balm tea. Do your due diligence, but for me, this is a very good tea. As a matter of fact, when I stop recording, I'm going to order some more. And I think I got these off Amazon, but I will, if you want to try this tea out, I will put the link in the description of this video, but lemon balm tea helps me so much with like maybe nausea, right? After you eat something that maybe you shouldn't have eaten. So, yeah. So that is the video. That is what I wanted to share with you guys. If you have any questions, let me know. But like I said, you can find me over on the Magick Alchemy Circle over on the school platform. And that is all I have for you today. Stay tuned for the next video in this series. I'm not sure what that's going to be, but I may just continue to go over, talk about the different botanicals, but we shall see. I will talk to you guys soon. Love you all, and into the shadows.